Welcome to Samurai Gaiden, the educational web series where I, Richard Shaffer, talk about the stories and anecdotes of the men and women of Sengoku Japan and the events that shaped their lives.
You may have heard of Issei Shinkoro. If not by that name, then by the one he received posthumously, Hojo Soul. Back when he was still known as a member of the Issei family, he ruled over the provinces of Izu and Sagami. His expansionism put him at odds with the Miura clan, mostly because they were the next stepping stone to Issei's expansion. The Miura ruled over the area that shared their name, the Miura Peninsula. You see, the Miura were ruled by Miura Yoshiatsu, also known as Dosun. Dosun was the son of Wasugi Takamasa. Dosun had been adopted by the childless ruler of the peninsula, Miura Tokitaka. At this time, follow along with me, Wasugi Yoshiatsu became Miura Yoshiatsu. However, some years later, Tokitaka had a natural son of his own. This put Yoshiatsu at odds with his adoptive father, because now Tokitaka's son, Miura Takanori, was named heir to the Miura clan. Yoshiatsu was forced to take up the tonsure and become a Buddhist monk. This is likely when he took his name Miura Dosun that we will be referring to him as for the rest of this episode. Dosun, however, found an opportunity one night, and he gathered his loyalists to attack his adoptive father at their castle in Arai. In the night raid, Dosun and his men managed to kill both Tokitaka and young Takanori. Fast forward to the present, the present as of 1512, and Issei Shinkoro now owns the old shogunal capital of Kamakura. War between the Miura and the Issei are brewing. The Miura rule from their two major castles, Arai, the old home of the Miura, and Okazaki. Dosun controlled Okazaki, and his son Miura Yoshimoto, their hereditary capital at Arai. Issei attacked Okazaki. The elder Miura was not able to hold him off. The castle fell relatively quickly, and Dosun fled with his remnants to his son's castle, Arai. Issei was fast on his heels and besieged Arai, which was a far more imposing castle than Okazaki had been. Dosun and Yoshimoto holed up in Arai, waiting for their allies to come to their rescue, and sure enough, the Ota clan actually marched to their aid, at which point they were soundly thrashed by Issei Shinkoro. Thrashed so badly that their own lord, Ota Sukeyasu, died in the fighting. With no allies remaining, the Miura continued to hold out at Arai, hoping that Issei would eventually figure the castle wasn't worth taking. The siege began in 1512. 1513 came the wind. 1514. 1515. 1516? So 4 years of surrounding and skirmishing at Arai, and finally, Shinkoro had cleared away everything else in the peninsula. It was time to end the war between the Issei and the Miura. Records suggest that the Miura had around 6,000 troops. However, this may have been what they marched into Arai with, and not what remained after being under siege for 4 years. Either way, the Issei had them outnumbered with 9,000 troops. Issei Shinkoro, possibly feeling that he was nearing the end of his life and didn't want to leave the task of tearing down Arai to his son, Issei Uchitsuna, ordered the castle to be assaulted. So the Issei breached the gates. They climbed the walls. They assaulted the Miura ferociously. The battle was certainly not moving in the Miura's favor. Dosun retired to his inner chambers and committed seppuku. He sliced open his belly and was beheaded by a trusted retainer, perhaps even his own son. Yoshimoto, however, felt that impaling your own abdomen and eviscerating yourself wasn't badass enough for him. He drew his sword, swung it around, and decapitated himself. Quite an imposing display for the encroaching Issei troops to witness. Not imposing enough to keep them from capturing the castle, of course, but still pretty badass. Ultimately, Arai became Issei Shinkoro's last big hurrah. By the time that Arai fell, or shortly thereafter, Shinkoro had already retired in favor of his son, Issei Uchitsuna. Shinkoro died a few years later in 1519, and Uchitsuna took over the Issei clan, eventually renaming it the Hojo clan. So, that's the story of the war between the Hojo, the Issei at the time, and the Miura clan, culminating in the siege of Arai Castle and Miura Yoshimoto boldly beheading himself.